Degree Net Podcast. Third Degree, the Third Degree Net Podcast. Third Degree, the Third Degree Net Podcast.
Third Degree, the podcast, is brought to you by Pappy, the man responsible for all the amazing music we have out here on this podcast. He's back in time for 2025, available for solo shows, full band gigs, restaurant accompaniment, private parties, lessons for beginners, you name it, the man can do it all. He's currently doing a residency in Bishop Arts at the Taco y Vino restaurant. In fact, he's probably doing one of them right now as we're recording this. He's got one more date coming up on the 27th. You can enjoy his work there. Also follow him on Instagram at pappy.check for updates on all his latest gigs and whatever else the man has going on.
Well, hello there, and happy start of the 30th season for you, FC Dallas Curious fan. There he is with his wooden spoon, Dan Crooke. Howdy, Dan.
It's a ladle, actually.
Oh, sorry. It's a wooden ladle.
Yeah,
and sporting his golden boot and his Emmy over his shoulder. It's your hero, my hero, everybody's hero, editor, founder of thirddegree.net, and the original soccer influencer who gets no respect. Buzz Carrick, come in, Buzz.
What did Dan get a wooden spoon for? Am I missing something?
That's what I wondered. Maybe it's the one for Luton being absolute shite.
Fair enough.
Maybe.
Yeah. That could be it. Yeah.
Buzz, I just want to publicly tell you that seeing you on the SoccerWise video podcast with your Emmy perfectly positioned over your shoulder and just off camera, just off center behind your head was the douchiest thing you've ever done. And I couldn't be more proud of you for promoting yourself like that. So,
well, thanks. Where else am I going to put it? I guess I don't have a mantle, so.
You're never going to convince me it was just a coinky dink that your Emmy happened to be just slightly off center behind your head on a national video podcast.
Well, it is the only thing I've ever won. So there you go.
Dan, have you spent any time admiring Buzz's Emmy?
Oh my gosh.
Well, I mean, the past 5 minutes that we've been on here, yeah.
I'm going to cover it up from now on. If you're going to,
it's funny because you always see the any newscasters that jump on all the soccer Zoom calls. They always have exactly that. It's the completely empty shelf with the Emmy. Buzz, thank you for having a functional shelf with things on it. That's awesome. That's
all your sci-fi book collection.
Yeah, some of them. Yeah, I mean the whole thing is mostly books and
a properly folded American flag.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, and an Emmy.
An Emmy.
And a neon sign pointing to it.
That's right. Hey, look at my Emmy.
This is all getting edited out, by the way.
No, it's not.
If
you edit this out, I will be so mad at you. I will be so furious. I've taken a screenshot of it, and I will tweet it out and point it out to the world.
Thanks. Right.
Well, we're all jubilant because the 30th season of FC Dallas Burn Soccer is nigh upon us, and we certainly are feeling a lot better about it these days, Buzz, with all the changes that have happened in the roster, and we'll get to that here in a little bit. They did have a final tune-up game against Atlanta. Where was that game played?
In Atlanta.
Oh, they traveled to Atlanta for that.
Yeah.
Was it played in the Robots Anus, or was it played at one of the colleges or
Marietta, the training center?
Ah, okay.
I without having watched one of their Atlanta United 2 games, I assume it's where Atlanta United 2 plays.
Okay. Any thoughts about that we know about that you'd like to report to the peoples?
Well, yeah. Musa did not start. Reported by FC Dallas as a small knock or light knock, and we'll see. They have a knack of telling us it's a knock, and then a month and a half later, 2 months later, they're still out. But for now, we'll take them at their word. I saw a picture of Musa down in Houston, so I assume he's actually going to be able to play, or else they wouldn't have traveled him. Because I know Paxton and Kafumana are here and are out. Like those are the guys that are listed as out, so they're not there. And so Musa is not. It's not official, of course, until Friday. But there was a picture of him that circulated from training, and so I assume that means he's available. So carry that forward.
Is this the preseason? I mean, this it probably was worse back in the earliest days of the league, but I feel like we're going into this season having the least visual idea of what this team looks like. Like, we haven't seen any of the games in any kind of complete sense. We've only gotten little bits and pieces here and there. I mean, I have no idea what this team looks like under Quill.
Yeah, the Atlanta one was the only one that got streamed, and it was a stream because Atlanta streamed it. So all the Dallas ones have not been streamed.
I didn't even know it was being streamed.
Yeah, it was on YouTube, Dan. I can't remember where it was.
Yeah.
So we got to watch a little bit of it, but Lucho Acosta and Ramiro, who's been hurt, they only played 30 minutes with no Petter Musa. They put Anderson Julio at the 9, and the Logan Farrington started at right wing. Now was some discussion among various people, a lot of it in our Discord, about, are those viable options? Is he trying to confuse things? And so the takeaways for me were, from that particular aspect, was that, remember that Anderson Julio has played 9 before. So Quill probably wanted to look at that. They started with Farrington on the right and Anderson Julio the 9. And then within 20 minutes, it rotated and Julio was left and Pedrinho was up top. And then Farrington was up top. So they were rotating through lots of different looks. I would actually really like them to continue to do that. I think when you rotate through different looks, you keep the other team off balance through the course of a game. And that's actually a really quality aspect if you can continue to do that. It also gave Quill a final chance to look at some things. So, it'll all depend on whether Musa can go or not, because if he's going, he's the 9. I mean, right? You're not doing somebody else if he can play. So it was nice to see 30 of Ramiro, who looked, fine-ish. I had no complaints about his play. He was in there with Leggett kind of as a double combo. They didn't look particularly stressed or out of sorts. The team over the course of the game gave up some goals, but again, you're looking at pieces rotating in and out, so it's really hard to get a grasp on it being like a whole complete 90-minute game or something. And that's another takeaway for me from the spring, is that I don't know that we got the usual final, here's 90 minutes from the group probably starting. We were seeing mix-ups and rotations because of injured pieces and guys arriving late. So there's going to be less cohesion and less dial in this year than in years past for game 1. Is that terrible? I don't know. With all the new pieces around here, that probably was inevitable. That was going to be the case.
Mm-hmm. Well, it does feel like this is going to be a team that may start out of the blocks slowly, just because of all the new pieces being fit together. A new coach is inserting a new system, all of those things. I mean, it certainly has all the ingredients to be a crock pot meal, not a microwave meal. Yeah,
when you have even just a new coach alone.
Come on, I'm not going to get anything for that kick-ass analogy? Crock pot versus microwave?
I thought you were going to say a crock of shit.
Oh, okay.
It's true that when you're changing a coach and you're changing a tactic, that alone will create some lack of cohesion early in the year. But then you have the guy who we think is going to be the starting center back has just arrived a couple of days ago. Lucho Acosta just arrived a couple of days ago. Ramiro just got healthy a week ago. Kafumana's not even in training at all. Paxton's going to be out for quite a while still. There's definitely a lot of pieces that are just still in flux. And we even think maybe there's a couple more pieces to come. So this is definitely a season where what you see opening day is not going to be holding up long term. There's going to be new pieces. There's going to be changes. And Quill talks a lot about this idea of competition, but every coach talks about that. So it's hard to really know how serious that is, but it definitely is going to be an early evolution. It's going to be fun to watch and analytically and try and see like, oh, how's it going? What's happening? It's what's looking good. What's not looking good.
Yeah. I don't think anybody should be surprised if the 11, as we move on to the game starting Saturday night in Houston, is Dallas may roll out what appears to be like a preseason B team, because you could see Musa may not start. You could see that Lucho may not start. Ramiro may not start.
Yeah.
The new center back may not start. I mean, they could really, understandably, I'm not criticizing. I mean, you could see them make a justification for this is just what we've got that we think we can roll with for game 1.
Yeah, when we talk about how players get worked in if they come back from injury or they get signed, usually, that first appearance, 30 minutes. And we saw that from Acosta and Ramiro. The next appearance, maybe they get 45 or just past halftime. So you have to wonder, okay, if I'm going into a game on Houston, do I go into a game knowing I have to take out Acosta and Ramiro no matter what? That's going to happen. Do I start a new center back if I know he maybe is different because he's in midseason form and midseason fitness. He's coming from a team that was playing to a team that was playing. So like if you've already, as you're starting the game, locked yourself into 2 subs you're going to have to make, that's not necessarily a great idea. It's different if those guys are on the bench and I know for sure they're going to be 2 dudes I'm bringing in. That's different than locking yourself into these are 2 dudes I got to bring out no matter what, because now you're forcing your hand that you're only down to 3 subs in order to try and change things. Mm-hmm. So you can handcuff yourself in a way if you do that. If you start a guy can barely get to halftime probably in terms of your normal fitness. Now, they're pros, and you could just say, you're in 90, but that's how you burn people out. You want to bring them along. And listen, if you've not watched soccer long enough, you won't have seen this, but we all have seen this time and time again, 30, 45, 60, 90, right? A progression of minutes over 3 or 4 weeks.
So that being said, before we get into an 11 for Houston, Dan, you got any Houston stuff you want to share with the people?
I think Houston's a bit of a funny one. They've got their preseason, or off-season rather, really mirrors Dallas in the sheer turnover. They've lost Hector Herrera, Sebastian Ferreira, Coco Carrasquilla. They've just got shot of Steve Clark as their starting goalkeeper. So now you've got Andrew Tarbell, who, was not even a bit part player. Tom Bogert just reported the other day, Michael, the Brazilian left centre-back, has agreed to deal with Palmeiras. So at the back, similar to the concerns of FC Dallas, they've got a 33-year-old Eric Sviatchenko and 34-year-old Daniel Steres at centre-back. In the midfield, that's kind of where they've made their big splash, right? They've had Jack McGlynn come in on that big cash transfer from Philadelphia to play alongside Artur. That may be kind of the key to everything. Last year they scored, I think it was, scored 47. Only Austin and San Jose scored less in the Western Conference. FC Dallas scored 54, just for comparison. But their defense was fantastic. They only conceded 39, third overall in MLS. But they're losing a starting centre back. They've lost a really good defensive midfielder in Herrera. So it'll be interesting to see kind of what the fall off is there, especially with a team that just hasn't been able to create chances. Even bringing in Nico Ladero as the 10 now. He's 35. He had very limited minutes last year. Like, what can he actually bring to the table? There's a lot of question marks in the same sense as FC Dallas.
I've been interested in watching some of the preseason predictions that as many people have Houston as high, kind of up middle of the table as they typically do, simply because in my mind, Houston's turnover has been a loss of players that were really effective for them last year. Dallas lost Areola and Jesus, which were, mostly your mileage may vary, but those guys that they lost were really impact players for them. So Houston's turnover feels to me very much a very different thing. Like the floor has dropped for them overall, and the question mark may be even bigger because Dallas kind of started poorly, is coming from a bad starting place. Houston wasn't per se. So I'll be interested to see what happens on Saturday and why maybe some people in the league think Houston are as good as they seem to think they are.
I mean, you think they lost their 3 designated players, right? FC Dallas was the only one to keep a single one of the Texas teams. Take Sebastian Ferreira out, he was a bust. But yeah, Coco Carrasquilla, Hector Herrera, huge players. Losing the starting centre-back now, another really good player. I think, like you say, with FC Dallas, when people said, you've just lost Areola, you've just lost Jesus Ferreira, that's great. They didn't factor as much as you would have liked last year, especially Ferreira with the injuries and everything. But yeah, they're losing so much firepower going forward, and then Herrera's impact going back to what was their strongest position group.
They changed their keeper too. Clark is out, and they brought in, I don't remember his name. They have they tore the middle out of the team, Herrera and Coco Carrasquilla. So it's like, you could probably say the same thing about Dallas, but then the pieces they replaced them with are more known commodities in the sense of Lucio Acosta, and we already know a lot about Sebastian Lletget. So
I think as well, they had that club record signing striker, Ezequiel Ponce. Came in for the latter part of the season, settled in pretty nicely, kind of a goal every other game. But there's no one behind him. If he gets injured, that's it. If he gets tired in the first game, they've got nowhere really to go from there.
Well, the game is Saturday at 7:30. It is on the Apple TV. By the way, we'll talk kit stuff, I hope, by the end of this, but we do now officially know that they're wearing white shorts with those kick-ass new orange throwback kind of designs that they're wearing, and it looks mighty good. So I don't know. Anything else about the Houston game that you wanted to get into, Buzz, or preview, or what you think in terms of the 11? I guess we should probably get into that a little bit.
Yeah. Coach Quill said today that Osaze Urhoghide has his visa. I think I might just try calling him Oz because that one is hard to say.
Osweze.
Oh. Osaze.
Osaze.
Yeah.
Osasi.
Yeah. So, he's been training, and coach said that they would make the call today, the day we're recording Thursday, about whether he would start or not. But he did point out that the guy is coming out of midseason. So he's very fit and has been playing. So it's not like a guy they got to get ready to go. He's been playing in France, and,
yeah, but you'd be shocked if a guy walks in and less than a week later starts a league game.
Well, you would. He's had a little bit of training. I don't know that the defense has all that much cohesion in place that he really is coming into. You're talking about Lawless Abubakar being the alternative. So I think there's a very real chance that the guy could just walk in and play. I think he'll be available on the bench. I mean, once he's got the visa, and they only have 2 center backs on the roster because the other kid, the 19-year-old kid, doesn't have his visa yet.
Right.
So for sure, I'm thinking he's going to be in the 18. And so I don't know that it's not entirely unlikely. I wouldn't put it as the favorite that he's going to play, but I think it's certainly possible that he's going to play. And I don't know why you might not just do it. He's probably in better shape than Abubakar right now. Abubakar's coming off of a long offseason sitting around. This dude's been playing 24 games in Division II France at a pro level. So I don't know why I can't really think of a reason not to play him, because it's not working into fitness. It's just going to be organizational stuff.
Well, this is where your understanding and relationship and kind of watching Quill grow as a manager over the last several years comes to your advantage, Buzz, because we have known other managers in the past that would never, ever start a guy who just walked into the team. I mean, Oscar was famous for bringing guys in and sitting them down, and they wouldn't play for months. We'd all go nuts. And so, Quill better than I do. If you think Quill would do this, then, say so.
Quill's a risk taker. He and this is the first game. Now, if it was August, and even a guy coming in fit when you're late in a season, I don't think that would happen. But it's game 1. It's like, no one has any locked in form. I would agree with you that generally this is unlikely. But when you have a record signing, weirder things have happened. So I think there's at least 50-50 chance that he would play him and start him.
Yeah, I mean, if there's an idea that maybe Lucho doesn't start because he just got here a little earlier than that, then
yeah. But Lucho, you're talking about Lucho, a guy who's been sitting around all winter, had 3 months off.
Yeah,
Ramiro has been hurt. The other dude is walking in game fit. Mid-season, there's a difference there.
Yeah.
Right. And because usually it's about learning team concepts, integrating into what they're doing. Like if you're coming in mid-season, the team's going to be in flow. You don't want to disrupt that. The guy's gonna be like, I don't know what I'm doing. Well, right now, nobody knows what they're doing. Quill's still talking like, oh, if you watch the video, the mic'd up thing from him in training, he's talking about, oh, you're going to go here and you're going to rotate like this, and then we're going to go up. Everyone's still trying to figure out what's happening. So I don't, like, if there was ever a time for a dude to walk in and start, it's the game 1 of a new season with a new defense anyway.
Fair enough. All right. Well, then, Mr. Big Talk, why don't you bravely predict what the 11 is for Saturday?
Well, Shagmore's obvious. Sibiaga, I think, is a lock. Farfan's a lock. There is no second left back. Sebastian Lletget has locked that down. the question would be Ramiro. Can Ramiro go at least half the game, or do you have to go Siki and Sebeling? Because Kafumana's out. And I think they'll go Ramiro. I think they'll try and get through halftime with Ramiro next to Leggett. Again, I think that Lucho Acosta will start. I think you can get through halftime. The advantage you would get with him in there against Houston is right for the taking. You can go into Houston and win. So I think they'll play him and let him go 45 and see how he's doing. See how the fitness, because it's just fitness with him. Ramiro, other than the injury, was probably coming out of a lot of play too. So he should be a little bit ahead of Acosta. Obviously, Pedrinho can be slotted in there just for Acosta if you need to, but I think you go ahead and start him. Anderson Julio on the left. I think I'm going to take them with their word that Petter Musa is fine, so Petter Musa will start. On the right, the play in preseason said it was Kamungo. Will it actually be Kamungo? I don't know. Like Logan Ferriton thrown in there at that last little bit on the right wing, a guy I thought should be the right wing. So I wouldn't be surprised if Eric gives Bernie the chance to start the season with that job and say, it's yours to lose, kid, if you can hold it. And we'll see what happens. Because, Eric really likes Bernie. So I think that's more of a question of I'm going to put him in there until he fails, and then we'll make a change if we have to, because I want to give him every chance. Because there's so much of what Eric wants to do is about verticality, right, and getting behind. And I asked him today about switch foot play, the way Anderson Julio is a right footer playing on the left, and Bernie's a left footer playing on the right. And he says, Eric said, while he does like that, it's more about getting Bernie and or anybody, but Bernie specifically into a place that's really good and comfortable for him. And it also is about matchups. So while we might see some changes there, I feel like enough of the times late in spring training, that was the pairing, Anderson Julio and Bernie Kamungo, that's what we'll see for this first game, and give Bernie all the chances in the world.
So if Anderson Julio can only go, I guess it would be either Farrington or Bernie. Yeah. Whoever doesn't start would end up subbing for him because he's never going 90 minutes. He's coming out at like 55 or whatever.
Farrington, Leo Chu, could be Leo Chu, could be Murney.
Yeah.
It depends on who's on the bench, of course. Anthony Ramirez, Pedrinho. If Pedrinho's on the bench, Pedrinho's definitely a guy that can come in at either wing, but right wing specifically. He plays a nice false swing. He comes inside underneath, and that can open up for Shaq Moore down the right. If we see that, like maybe that's a late in the game adaptation, perhaps. Mm-hmm. Although we probably want to save Pedrinho in our minds for coming for Lucho Acosta at like 55, 60, if we can get Lucho that far. And then, of course, you could move things around up front if Pedrinho's in. Then you could try some other combinations. So,
boy, the drop-off from Lucho Acosta to Pedrinho is a drop-off.
Well, Pedrinho's 20, and he has some nice ability. And there's some times where he dominated games at North Texas. And he had a nice spring. But he is not a multiple, leading the league in assists, MVP. He's not the same as Lucho Acosta. Right. That's a huge fall off. But you could say the same thing about Petter Musa and Logan Farrington, and I don't think we would be that upset about Farrington having to come in from time to time to play some minutes for Petter Musa. So,
and obviously, Paz will be in goal. You didn't say that.
Of course, I did not say that, but that's of course. It looks like, for the sake of argument, if I had to guess today, I'm going to say Michael Collodi will be on the bench as the number 2. I think that's as much about Collodi's mindset and experience. He's a few years older. He's played more games than Antonio. Maybe Antonio needs a little bit of playing time in a league better than North Texas SC. So stay tuned on that, depending on who makes more benches. But they need to try and figure out how to get Antonio Curra some games, because I don't know that him playing for North Texas does anybody any good anymore. You got to get that kid some minutes. He's only 20, right? So, plenty of time for Antonio Curra to develop, whereas Collodi at his age is like 24-ish, much more reliable and confident and composed and to be the number 2.
So thinking back, and again, kind of going back to the comment that I don't feel like any of us have really a good grasp on how this preseason has gone. Do we have a sense as to who had a really solid spring, showed well, or somebody that didn't, like, oh my God, this guy is not fit or fat or just not playing well, not fitting in well? Do we have any sensibility about that?
I don't particularly. Quill pushed a lot of fitness work pretty hard, pretty aggressively. We haven't seen a ton of game action. one of the minutes we've seen, I'm not super confident in that center back pair, particularly Abubakar makes me really nervous. This is one reason why I feel like you might as well go with the other guy. Shaq Moore came in a little bit late, but obviously he looks like he's been there, done that. Knows what he's doing. Doesn't really look phased at all. And to me, Anderson Julio looks really sharp. He looks like he and Leggett look the most ready to go, most game ready to go from the one game we saw. I thought both of those guys looked really solid and locked in and dialed in. Ramiro being hurt really hurt. Kafumana being missing is a big question mark. Paxton being missiles, obviously, it is what it is, but we hope that that's going to be a valuable piece at some point this season. So the biggest underlying factor is I think you're still sort of short of center back. I think right now you're really short in midfield of some bodies. Other than the people we think are starting up front, who do you really have? It's all kids. Now that's what we wanted, right? We wanted kids. We wanted young guys, but those guys are unproven. They gotta have to do some things to make us really feel confident. So in the meantime, we kind of are, Logan Farrington's going to be playing a lot of minutes off the bench because he's a little bit older, a little more comfortable, a little more confident, and was your leading assist guy last year coming off the bench mostly. So.
Yeah, to me, the biggest question about this season is who's going to play and who's going to be the Alaramendi replacement, because a lot of what helped a pretty poor defensive effort last season was Alaramendi, and now he's gone. And even if you're working under the assumption the new center back is really quality and they've got themselves a CB1 or CB2 in that guy, and he's a real positive. And even if you want to say Ibiaga is a serviceable center back, okay, I still think Dallas has got a lot of problems if Sebastian Leggett and Siki and Sebling are your trying to double up to play, double pivot 6 or something.
Well, it seems like Ramiro is Yarmini's replacement. And I guess we'll find out if he's anywhere near the player that Yarmindi is.
But he's not a 6 by his nature, though. He's kind of like he's like a multi-tool kind of midfielder, right?
6'8", wide mid, wide back. Can play all over the place. Even played some wing. Probably even played some 10. Zanotta talked about him being a guy who makes everybody around him better.
Okay.
So I think that's the look. I mean, Kafumana is also sort of 6-ish, 8-ish. I mean, Leggett's not a 6 at all. So
no. And neither is Sebling.
Right. It's going to have to be, right now it has to be Ramiro, unless Nolan Norris is going to come in and play a bunch, which is all, entirely possible. Maybe we're about to witness the Nolan Norris era. You never know. So,
I just fist pumped at that idea.
Yeah. So Norris probably is on the bench because he's the only guy you have other than Ramiro, who's a 6-ish in profile. Siki and Sebling really is more just like Leggett, 8'10". So is Delgado. Like, I think Delgado's all 10, but other people think he's 8'10". Well, those guys are all that same spot. It's the other spot that Ramiro, Kafumana, Norris. That's like, okay, what do they have there? Well, who's going to step up? Right now it's got to be Ramiro, and he probably can't go more than maybe 55 or 60 coming off that 30 minutes last week. Okay, does that mean Norris is coming in and playing 30 minutes? Are we ready for that? So there's lots of questions in this team, all over this team. There's lots of questions. About half the lineup, I think, is pretty locked in. Because
Dan is the emotional one on this podcast. Mm-hmm. So, Dan, my question for you, and you can wear your emotions on your sleeve. Are you more excited about the Lucho Acosta and Petter Musa pairing, or B, are you more concerned about a particular missing spot or weak spot that's still in the lineup?
Oh, that's a tough one. I don't know whether to be offended by that, by the way.
Why would you be offended?
Because you called him emotional.
Yeah. I heard emotional wreck. Come on.
That's not what I said.
I'm inclined to be more excited on a curious level than just like, hey, I drank the Kool-Aid, it's all going to be wonderful. It's
about the pairing of Acosta and Musa.
Absolutely. Okay. If you can get Petter Musa as, with that fantastic debut season and no sophomore slump, if you can get something resembling 2023 MLS MVP, Lucho Acosta. That could be incredible. The flip side of it is, do you aim to win every game 4-3?
That would be a kick-ass season, by the way.
Well, we're here for it.
Yeah, that would be interesting. As I mentioned earlier, there's a bunch of, it's this time of year, everybody's making their predictions. And let's see, which one did I read today? Soccer America had Dallas at 22 overall in the league. Said the back line is quote unquote horrendous. Somebody else, Joe Lowry, had them winning the wooden spoon. And then I saw several of the Soccer Wise and MLS guys have them as high. I think the highest I've seen anybody predict Dallas so far is 6th.
The 6 feels a little high. Wooden spoon feels a little low. I might find the defense is shambolic to be relatively close. We don't really have a lot of super confidence. I mean, Marco Farfan is a defensive first player, solid defender, but not elite. You know how I feel about Sebastian Biaga. We have no idea if the new guy can play at all, and Abubakar is kind of tailing off quickly. And Shaq Moore, while an offensive upgrade, is not that great of a defender. We don't know who the 6 is. So like they're right about the defense being a mess. Now it may be like 6 months from now, we may be like, Oz is amazing. What a great signing. This defense is so good. Keep in mind too, that Eric Quill's going to play a high risk offensive explosion game, and he's going to expose his defense. It's a tactical choice to take risks and play risky soccer and counter press quickly and hope that you don't get ripped in transition. And once you don't counter press, then you can sit back and get in that block, and they'll be better once they get in the block. But transition defense is going to be tough in the get-go in the early, right? Because they don't have Tafari anymore. And while Urhoghide looks good on tape in terms of quickness, how does that really react in terms of live MLS pace? Are Shaq Moore going to get caught up all the time? Is he going to get back? There are lots of questions on defense. So we're suddenly starting to.
This is suddenly starting to sound like Postecoglou and Spurs.
Is it? I don't know if us Spurs to know if that's true or not.
Dan got that joke.
Yeah.
Actually, on that subject, it's not really on that subject at all. But in FC Dallas Better Than You Think news, Kalen Kyle gave FC Dallas a new high, 5th in the Western Conference.
Okay.
Just drinking the Lucio Acosta Kool-Aid.
Yeah,
that's fun.
5th. Okay. All right. Well, now I like her more.
Well, should we do our predictions? Are we out for that?
Well, no. What I wanted to talk about, before we get into predictions and stuff, I guess that is where I think this is what I've been thinking about since last week with this Acosta thing, which is Lucho Acosta enough of an addition to suddenly have all of us change our mood and attitude about where this team is? Because I swear the only difference, 2 weeks ago, we were all really worried about this season and whether or not they'd be anywhere close to being a playoff team.
Yeah.
And we pretty much had all of these players in mind, including the center back, because we've known about this guy for a better part of a month. Now, we didn't talk about it on the podcast because we couldn't, but we've known this guy was coming. Even when we were like, God, I think this season's going to be really rough, that was with this guy in mind.
Yeah.
So is Lucho Acosta enough to push us all into some sort of new delirious, hey, this is a solid playoff team line of thinking?
Well, you remember I was saying that I thought Quill, even without Lucho Acosta, was going to have them competing, just outside the playoffs and maybe possibly for that last spot. I think Lucho Acosta is a multiple points in the standings change. You look at his numbers in MLS. He's had over 10 goals 4 of the last 6 seasons in MLS. He's had double figures assists in 5 of the 7 seasons he's been in MLS. The dude is a legit locked in 30 games, knock on wood, every season player. He produces year after year after year without fail. Again, knock on wood. So I think you can pretty comfortably say that like every year he's done more goals and assists, pure production than Ferreira, Velasco, and Alan and Paul Arriola did, other than Jesus' 18-goal season. Those guys combined weren't doing what Lucho's doing. So Lucho is definitely an impactful player. I think you're looking at a 3 or 4 position swing just on getting that guy in the standings. Does that make them an MLS Cup competitor? No way in hell. But it significantly alters my perception of how good the team is just with one player.
I think as well, like, you look at the knock-on effect with the players alongside. Talked about Anderson Julio, and when he came in, there was a lot of, he had some really good spots for RSL when he came off the bench. He obviously had his, 1 or 2 goal game here last year. Bernie Kamunga, can he kind of get back into first season Bernie now that he's playing back under Quill? Well, Acosta's going to take a lot of the defensive responsibility, opposition defensive responsibility off those two, and in some ways Musa, because hey, you've got to concentrate on a league MVP. You can't let him just have the ball. Mm-hmm. So you're going to have like what was the useless guy who is the Belgian one? I forgot his name.
What was his name?
But remember, he scored that hat trick.
Come on, Buzz. It's the guy that was terrible, except he would score goals.
Roland Lamar.
That was it. But remember, he scored that hat trick purely because the opposition defense was like, he's crap. We're going to mark everyone else. And then he just sneaks in the back post and gets a tap in.
Yeah, interesting. All right, I want to read a quote for you guys, and you tell me whose quote this is. This is a landmark signing for FC Dallas and a statement of commitment to building a championship caliber team. Bringing in a player of Lucho's caliber, an MVP and proven leader, demonstrates ambition and desire to compete at the highest level. Close quote. Whose quote was that?
The second you said championship caliber, that is Mr. Daniel J. Hunt.
Is it?
You are correct. That was Dan Hunt, president of FC Dallas Football Burn Club.
Do you agree?
It's an interesting quote, huh?
Do you agree?
I think I think it's an interesting quote because I appreciate the fact. I find it interesting that the word ambition has been used because I don't know how often I've ever heard, and maybe I'm wrong about this, so I don't want to be too definitive about this. I don't know if I've ever heard Dan or Clark use ambition before. And I know that we've talked about it a lot. A lot of other people have talked. I'm not saying this is something like them reacting to you, Buzz, or anything. No. I'm just saying, just hearing Dan talk about demonstrating their ambition and wanting to compete at the highest level and using phrases like championship caliber and statement of our commitment is all very interesting because I don't think I've heard Dan Hunt be very hyperbolic and over the top, and we're bringing in substantial attacking reinforcements, and it turns out to be some guy from a second division Israeli league, and so I'm going with all this.
I think that the actual part of the Lucho signing that is a bit of a statement on that part is Lucio's salary. Because that $4 million combined comp blows away the previous high of $3 million for Frank O'Hara by a mil, or more. Mm-hmm. So that they've got this guy through 26 of the 27 option. So this is a 3-year probably commitment to a $4 million salary. That is a new level of salary spending on their part. So I give them this one.
But hold on. I had this. I'm so glad you brought this up because this dawned on me the other day because I was feeling pretty saucy for the Hunts spending $4 million on salary on one guy, but in selling off Jesus Ferreira, Paul Arriola, and other players, how much money in salary did they save this offseason?
Jesus was over 2 and Paul was under 2. Jesus might have been 3, some might have been 5. Yes, in terms of the savings that they've made, absolutely. But I also don't think that they're done. It is a multiple year commitment to Lucho, and I think that there will be more pieces. Like they have an open DP slot, right? So
Sure.
Now, granted, there was talk they were going to go 2-4. Okay, that's a savings. But as we move, like, it's not like you're going to get rid of Petter Musa anytime soon, unless some crazy offer comes in for him, right? So, like, they are spending more money on presumably the center back that they bought is going to have a TAM level salary. So, like, there is the same level of spend in general. I don't think like this is a massive reduction in spend across the board. It was a reduction in the mechanics. They cut some salaries through cap mechanics and able to get them to get new pieces in. Acosta is one piece. We need to see more pieces. But Anderson Julio's at a max salary. Leo Chu's pretty high. Ramiro, we don't know what he's going to be, but these are not necessarily the cheapest pieces on the world.
No, but you can see that if they don't add players, between the money they save between Areola, Velasco, and Jesus, just because you paid Lucho Acosta $4 million doesn't mean suddenly now you've blown out your wage bill. You may have just been a wash at that point. You may have even saved a little bit. So that is why waiting to see what this roster looks like come summertime is really the important part of it when we finally get to look at the MLS salary numbers when they get released later this year.
Well, like I said, Lucho Acosta is just one piece. All right. I mean, they're if you're going to bring back 3 DPs eventually, probably that's going to be a high salary.
But here we are. We're at the beginning of the season. The season starts.
It's a multi-year project too, though, right?
Yeah. Nobody wants to hear about a process, Buzz. We want to win a trophy.
Yeah, I know.
We want to win shit.
I'm trying to keep it real, dude. I'm trying to keep it grounded.
All right. Can I just make a quick apology? I claimed that Dan Hunt's middle initial was J. It is in fact L. I am sorry about that.
Is that dyslexia? Like
J,
the letter direction dyslexia?
No, it is. I think there's a politician whose name is Daniel J. Hunt, and
it's a character on The Simpsons or something like that.
No, that would be Lionel Hutz.
Okay. Well, I guess, Buzz, it is time for predictions. Let's get through predictions so we can do kit talk.
Yeah, let's do it.
When you say, these are league level, league-wide predictions, I was looking at, your crayon was a little wild.
Sorry, a little cryptic.
MLS Cup winners. Buzz, who's winning MLS Cup this year?
All right, I'm going to be really boring. Inter Miami's winning MLS Cup. They're going to feel aggrieved over last year's failure, and they're going to put it all together, and this year's their cup.
It's also Messi's last guaranteed year. He's got the option for 2026, but he might want to quill it early and go out with a bang. You never know.
All right, I'm having Seattle win MLS Cup this year.
So Dan, were you in on Miami too? Was that what you were saying?
Yeah.
Seattle's a good shout. They got a deep roster that's really going to help them. Yeah.
All right, so I have Seattle winning MLS Cup, and I also have them winning Supporters Shield.
Seattle for the Shield too,
for the double this year. Double. Yes,
I'm also going Inter Miami for the double. I think that they're going to win the Shield too. I really think this is the year it all comes together for them.
I'm going to go with Cincinnati. It seems like they've kind of got that attack rolling now, and bringing Evander in might just kind of push them back there.
Okay, the Golden Boot. Who will get the Golden Boot?
Well, I'm not going to do the Swedish chef voice, but I've got Evander versus Messi in like a little knockdown, drag-out, fun, absolute mess.
Really? Okay. Yeah, it was an interesting little banger he hit for Cincinnati in the Champions Cup last night. I saw that one off the post. Yeah, that was good. My Golden Boot winner is going to be Christian Benteke, please. I'll take him.
That's a good one.
No, I'm switching. I forgot. Wilfred Zaha is playing in Charlotte. Do I want to just throw a wild card out there and say,
yeah, you could do that.
He's going to go nutso. No, I'll stick with Benteke.
So I'm going to go with Dennis Biaga. I think LAFC will climb back up a little bit and rebound. I think he's going to have a lot of goals this year.
Dig it. Open Cup. Who still cares about Open Cup? Buzz?
Everyone.
I have, because Sporting Kansas City is not in it, I have FC Dallas getting to Open Cup final and losing to Orlando
in
the final.
What a story.
Yeah. I got a whole story and everything. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. All right, Dan, who do you have winning Open Cup?
Yeah, I think when the participants were released and there wasn't Sporting Kansas City there to knock out FC Dallas in the cruelest fashion, that immediately put them 1 foot in the final.
Okay.
So you think they're winning it, Dan? FC Dallas?
You know what? That would involve seeing what other MLS teams are going to come in on that. Yeah, screw it. Let's go with it.
All right. Here are FC Dallas predictions. Let's see. All right. This is the big one. Buzz, you get to go first. What position in the West will Dallas finish up?
Now they've added Acosta. I moved them up 3 or 4 spots. So I have them in 5th or 6th in the West. Maybe down to 7th. 5 to 7. Can I do a band of 3 spots? 5 to 7?
No.
5, okay, 5's too high. 6 and 7. Can I have 6 and 7?
Just pick one
6.
number. This is the game.
6th.
Pick a number.
6th.
Okay.
In the West.
Dan?
Well, I also had a band of numbers, but I'll just go with 9th. I think 3 through 15 is so difficult to pick.
And is it still 9 teams get into the 9 and 10 go, or 8 and 9
8
get
9.
to the plane? 8 and 9
yeah.
of the, yeah. Okay. You had them where, Dan? 9?
9, scraping in the playoffs.
You're such a pessimist.
Sorry, not the playoffs, the postseason. Let's have that argument again.
No, not again. No, I'm editing it out if you do.
Yeah. Good Lord. Dan, you're such a pessimist. I can't believe you have them as low as 9th. I mean, I have them in 8th.
Wow. What the hell happened?
Yeah.
I would have said 9th if you had said 8th. So, but I have them squeaking into the play-in tournament. How about that? So look at me being shiny and positive.
Sponsored by Audi.
Who will be the team's MVP? Dan?
I'm going to be boring and say Lucho.
Okay. Buzz?
I will also take the boring answer, Lucho Acosta. The guy's got way too much of a track record of goal and assist combinations to probably pass that up.
Yeah, that's probably true. I want to be different. I'm going to say Musa just to throw in a different name, but you guys are probably right. New player rookie of the year, Buzz?
That
sounds like this is not fair because isn't Lucho technically a new player?
I mean, yeah, you could be. I mean, I'm going to say Shaq Moore because I don't think Enzo Newman is going to have enough playing time, like as a high draft pick, to get much of an impact. And Diego Garcia, I'm excited about for the future. Pedrinho's kind of interesting, but can I count Shaq Moore as a new player? I think he's a 6 assist guy bombing on the wing. Probably, I think that's pretty impactful.
What about you, Dan?
I'm gonna go twofold. New player, newcomer, as in new to the league. I'm gonna say Asaze Urhoghide. As a centre back, I think he's got a much easier transition to MLS than many of the forward positions. I personally liked what I've seen from Enzo in preseason. I think, given he's kind of that cover for both fullback positions, all it takes is an injury or Marco Farfan to not quite pick up his form, and he might get that run in the side that kind of propels him into that position.
Okay. Mine is the rebuilt $6 million Paxton Pomykal.
I like where your heart's at.
Who will be coming back at us midseason and play so lights out so well, he will qualify as new player /
You're kind of going with a comeback player as your player. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair enough. Yeah.
We'll love that story so much.
Like
It'll qualify.
Oh
All right. Defensive MVP, Dan.
I'm going to go with Ramiro. I kind of like what I've seen from him so far in that sense.
Okay. Buzz?
Martin Paz. He's going to bail him out 5 or 6 times a game with some saves. Yeah, I think it's an easy one. He's going to get peppered.
I'm going to be positive. I'm going to look up again. I think it's going to be, I think this new guy is going to be legit, and we're all going to be really, really pleasantly surprised with how well scouted out he was and what a quality find and signing he turned out to be.
Wow. You guys are all about the new guy. Yeah.
Time for outlandish predictions. Who wants to go first with the outlandish prediction? This could be FC Dallas or league-wide.
You do whatever you want. It's as long as it's outlandish.
That's what qualifies it as outlandish. Dan, would you like to go first with your outlandish prediction?
Sure. I'm going to say the Los Angeles Football Galaxy of Carson will miss the playoffs due to no Ricky Puig, no Joseph Paintsil for all of spring. Dejan Joveljic is gone. Marky Delgado's gone. Whatever his name, Brugman's gone. They're missing a few pieces there, and just a couple extra injuries. Maybe Marco Reus hobbles around the field or something, and they could lose out in a very weird Western Conference.
Interesting. Okay.
Just to note, the year I said Seattle wouldn't make the playoffs, they won MLS Cup. So, you know.
Oh.
Well, here is my outlandish prediction. Note that I did not have Miami winning MLS Cup or the Shield, and that is because I will predict that Lionel Messi will suffer a season, if not career-ending injury before the midpoint of the season.
Oh, so many Apple TV subscriptions were just cancelled.
Start calling you Buzzkill. It's ridiculous. Killing all the mojo.
Although, after watching him goof off last night in the -3 degrees in Kansas City and do that amazing skill move to score the winning goal, I'm probably really stupid for having written that one down a week ago and saving it for tonight.
Yeah.
Because if there was ever a time I'd ever thought I'd see Messi mail it in, it was on a night like last night.
3 degrees, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, he just decided to do that for about all of 5 seconds and won the game. So
yeah, he mailed it in for 8 or 9 minutes, and then he gave him 1 minute of greatness.
What kind of idiot am I? Yeah. Okay. Buzz, what's your outlandish prediction?
Petter Musa will have 15 goals by the summer and be sold for $20 million in the summer window.
Whoa.
And you're back to being Buzzkill.
Yep.
Yeah. Will we be mad about that?
No, because that's a fair price. I mean, it'll stink, but $20 million for Petter Musa is fair. We paid 13 for him.
So does that mean, is that when the Lucho Acosta freak out, breaking fallout with the front office happens when they sell off his 15 goal scorer in 3-month guy?
Very possible, but I think Logan Farrington's pretty solid. And by then, Anderson Julio and maybe somebody else will have some goals in them too. And I would imagine that when you sell a guy for $20 million, just like last time they sold a guy for $20 million, they will then say, don't worry, we're going to buy another guy for 10 to 13 million. So I'm sure there will be a guy. I imagine there'll be some kerfuffles if my prediction comes true. But I'm expecting it to go so well with Acosta and Musa that Musa's price will go and he'll get out of here in the summer.
All right. Well, there's all your FC Dallas stuff. They start the season, the 30th season of your Dallas Burn FC Football Club. 7:30 down in Houston, the Texas Derby. Let's go rodeo. Are they wearing the Burn Baby Burn kits, or are they wearing the red kits? Do you know?
Don't know.
We don't know yet.
Don't
okay.
Know.
Or the purple kits, whatever we want to call it. All right, real quick. Trinity's restarted their season last Saturday at the Cotton Bowl against Tampa Bay, and as predictable as sunrise, they drew the game, and Lexi Missimo scored within the first 3 minutes of her professional debut. It just went exactly according as we all thought it would.
Yeah, it might have been her first touch of the game. And
it was
her only touch of the game because she didn't get much of the ball after that.
No. Yeah. In fact, I think she might have touched the ball 3 times in the entire first half, and 2 of those touches was the touch receiving the pass, and the second touch was passing it into the back of the goal.
Yeah, they did not do a very good job of getting her the ball in danger positions. They have done a lot of work last fall playing around the outside. And if you listen to her higher press conference, she even mentioned how much she liked, Lexi did, how much she liked how they played down the sides. And, and she was hoping to be able to have freedom in the middle, but then they didn't get her the ball. They have a really good a 6. The other third person in midfield did not do a good job linking between Amber Brooks and Lexi Missimo. So I think that's going to be something to watch. The Nigerian young lady whose name I cannot remember all of a sudden, who came in the second half, I thought was better at that, but that obviously is a project that will need some tweaking, that tactic, in order to get the most out of Missimo, I think.
Well, I will say, considering all the pressure and the situation, the circumstance, how quickly it happened in the game.
Yeah.
We have all seen players with way more experience and playing at a way higher level for longer than she has completely blow an opportunity like that. And she took it like a champ without even blinking. She didn't sweat an ounce on it. So congratulations to her. And
it's a great finish.
They need to win games. They're going to draw themselves to death. Although everybody else in the league is drawing. So whatever. All right. So they play, I think they got a game again this Saturday at the Cotton Bowl.
They do against the Spokane Zephyrs.
That's right. The Smoking Zephyrs.
Sure.
All right. Is it time, guys? Is it time?
Yep.
Is it time? Is it time?
It is time.
It's time for Kit Talk. I love it. This has been a good week for Tit. It's been a good time.
Has it though? Yeah.
It's been a good time for Kit Talk because I got invited onto a Kit podcast from 3 guys from England. Well, 1 guy from Ireland and 2 guys from England. And Dan, you would have loved it. They were great guys because they were wanting to do a retrospective of the original 10 1996 pairs of MLS kits, and we got to talk about that. And if you go check it out, because I was their guest, they asked me, they always do like a bespoke badge or episode badge, and they asked me what my favorite 96 MLS kit was, and lo and behold, the Dallas Burn Away white and guacamole green shirt is sporting the badge on the badge. So go check that out. I'll post links in different places. You guys can go check it out. All right. Overall, how are we feeling about the 2025 Adidas collection of MLS kits, Buzz?
I think it's a pretty good rack of kits. I mean, there's some that are a little boring, but for the most part, they all have a little bit something going on, some branding carrying through, some consistencies. Overall not bad. I don't love the horns on the template thing, but some of the teams did better than others in terms of adapting those into nice looking things.
Dan, what about you? What do you think?
I'm looking at the 2024 kits and the 2025, and I like the 2025s better. I think there's definitely a low end, but I think there are some absolute crackers, kind of at the top end of those kits.
I was thinking, we've told the story that the word on the street is that the original submission to Dallas was so bad, the Hunts paid the money for them to go back and redo it. And that's what we ended up getting was this thing, which is almost an identical replica, except for color changes to what LAFC's shirt and DC United's and Chicago and the Red Bull. And so I'm just wondering, how many other teams do we suspect out of this group, out of these 30 shirts or 31, whatever the final number is, may have done the same thing Dallas did?
I mean, that'd be a pure guess. I mean, it's not nothing in terms of the money it takes to do that. The team has to pay for the change. So I don't know the number that it is. I know that it's, I think that this is the only time Dallas has ever done it. So it's probably relatively rare, even though there's some teams that have similar kind of vibes. Most of them, that if I from memory really quickly, most of them seem to have a pattern in the horn, for example. So I feel like that those were there probably from the get-go of the concept, whereas the Dallas one is just red and blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you there. There is some subtle pattern in just about everyone. I think, with Dallas, it's a very standard collar for the Tiro 25. It's the same, the panels are going to be the same regardless. They might just be DC has that really cool pattern, that like street art pattern in theirs. I think the only ones that really are comparable are maybe San Diego's away kit, the white with the baby blue, which, they're on a rush job to get 2 kits out anyway.
Right. San Diego, I'm not counting just because they weren't in the cycle.
Yeah. I think other than that, it's the Nashville away, very plain navy with the yellow, and then the
LAFC's.
LAFC has the fold over collar, so I don't know if theirs was necessarily a part of that. Portland, maybe. They've got a very basic kit at that very dark green with the gold accents, but that's also their 50th anniversary, so they may have chosen to go with that very plain, classic, clean look.
Yeah, interesting. Well, somebody in the Discord shared a really cool tool where you could do a little like survey, and they would compare two kits, and you'd run through the entire system until you actually ended up with a ranking, and it would generate a graphic for you on how your ranking of kits was. And that was a lot of fun. So sitting here and looking at all of them, I mean, did you guys do that by chance?
Yeah, I was really surprised with how mine came out, because like just ranking them, like, 1 through, what is it, 24 they
32.
released? However many they actually released. Oh yeah, 32, you're right. Just ranking them like 1 through 32, it came out a lot different than I thought it would.
Yeah, mine did too.
FC Dallas featured a lot higher than I thought. I think whose was lower. Orlando's was a lot lower than I thought. Portland's kind of plain one was a lot higher than I thought it would be. I like that idea, that whole, like, doing one-on-one kit battles and seeing what really comes out.
Buzz, did you try it?
I did not, but I'm going to now.
Oh, you should. Yeah. I ended up with Seattle #1, Portland 2, Inter Miami 3. Inter Miami's pink one ended up higher than I thought it would, and I didn't think it would outrank Salt Lake's, which I had at 4. Dallas ended up last for me, and I feel pretty strongly. San Diego's I can't hold against them because they weren't part of the cycles. So debut shirts I never hold against anybody, but I will say this. Well, let's just run through the kits individually while Buzz does this. We'll just do them in
I'm not going to do it right
now. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll do them in alphabetical order. The 5 stripes, Atlanta United, the connector kit, they're calling it. Any comments or thoughts about this?
Yeah, I like the fact that they made the stripes wider again, so there actually are 5 stripes on the front of the jersey or not. It's very bold and chunky, which I think really helps that look.
Good use of gold as well on the trim.
Yep. I guess we're going to say my only comment is I don't know why I haven't dawned on me, but I guess the reality is Atlanta's main color is black and red is the accent color, because the back panel of the shirt is not red, it's black.
Didn't they go the other way around on their last one?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. And sometimes the whole back panel thing, to me, I can't stand that. But it is what it is. And sometimes you're like punishing somebody for a back panel. It's not really their fault. They're being required to have a back panel.
Yep.
But you're right. This one is more black than it is red.
Well, getting away from the Negro comes in Austin FC, who I am delighted with their shirt this year. I love the offset vertical stripes of the green, and I love the fact that the back panel is not black but green. Verde. Yeah,
this is a really good one. This, again, like the continuation of their very solid theme, and the vertical stripes are close enough green that they're playing off each other really well. It doesn't have like a really weird green as one of the greens. It's a very solid kit.
Do we know what color shorts they're wearing with this? Have we seen by any chance?
I have not.
No.
I would like it if they wore it with black shorts.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
By the way, the little emblem down on the bottom of the shirt. Have you seen that? It's the beating heart emblem. Have you seen that up close? That's a really cool detail.
I have not, but I'm aware of that, and them doing that shtick, and I think it works pretty well.
Yeah, looks good. Okay. Next up, do we want to give letter grades for these? Do we care? We don't care that much.
No, I just think we're kind of talking about the highlights and the lowlights of them.
Charlotte has their cool shirt, which is called the Fortress Kit. The more I see this, especially depending on how it's photographed, the more I like this shirt.
I have a big problem with this. Where we talk about how, like, sometimes, we gave the FC Dallas one the kind of benefit of the doubt. Maybe the shorts and socks will either make it or break it. As a jersey, I think it's fantastic. As part of a kit, it's terrible. Because you've got that really flat black shorts and socks that suddenly don't go with the shirt.
I'm not a fan of an all black look, particularly an all black kit, because from the stands, this is just an all black kit. And it's not even an all black kit with good color highlights. It's just black with silver trim.
That's the problem I think I have, because it's got a really cool, like, embossed pattern, which makes it look almost like dark gray with black shorts. And you're like, well, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I like the pattern, and I like close up, like as a streetwear. I think it'll be nice, but like as a kit, I think this is terrible.
I like the Carolina blue highlight color, though.
But it's only a tiny little piece on the neck. It's on the
side, too.
Oh, on the image, I can't see that.
There's a side panel. Yeah. That's
the side panel on the website is black.
Oh, the one I'm looking at in the picture I have, it looks like it's blue. Maybe it's on one side or it's towards the back. I don't know. Your point is taken. It's not enough. Okay. Next up, Chicago Fire in the municipal kit.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's kind of boring. I don't know what this sort of V pattern is. You know, it's on the emblem on the back too. So there's probably something I'm missing contextually, but to me,
represents
it's just
the north, south, and main branches of the Chicago River and their confluence at Wolf Point.
Okay, I guess. No, that doesn't really look like it to me, but okay.
Is that how everybody reacted to the Burns reunion kit with the little light pattern?
Yeah,
from Union Tower.
Yeah, probably
okay.
so.
Yeah, sure.
Logos
whatever.
Like
Dallas.
this berries. Yeah, I mean, this is to me, it's just like it's just a light blue kit with dark blue trim. So
it's got a little red on the collar. Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
It's all right. It's okay.
Any Chicago thoughts, Dan?
It's all right. It serves a purpose. I like the pattern. It's not. I didn't realize it had a meaning, so that's kind of cool. I just thought it was one of those generic hexagon patterns that Adidas have been using on some of their team wear.
Next up, and this was my second least favorite shirt of the year, FC Cincinnati, and this is simply because the orange sash is so stupidly oversized.
Yeah, I applauded the concept of trying to bring the slash from their logo into the kit. I don't like that the blues are different.
There's 3 shades. It's horrible.
There's 4 shades. Because the side panel is different than the bottom, which is different than the color above the blue of the slash, and is different than the sleeve. So I'm counting 4 shades of blue on this thing. So it's a poor execution of what should have been a concept.
Well, I hate the orange sash so much I didn't even notice the 4 shades of blue.
and the orange sash even has triangles in it or something. I'm kind of it's just a
diamond
mess.
pattern. Yeah.
It's such a weird, like awkward sash as well. It's not like the whole shoulder. It's like it's kind of under your armpit. It's a boob tube that's fallen down on one side.
I think the angle of it is probably supposed to, again, mimic their badge. But, think about the Great River Plate or Peru kit and how good that slash is. This ain't that. This is a bad slash.
Or LA Galaxy.
Or LA Galaxy, who owns slash and really should be, not okay.
Yuck. Do not like it.
Yeah, fair.
Next up, it's the of what I think the Dallas failed bloody wound shirt would have looked like if it had been red instead of green, which is the Colorado Rapids Headwaters kit.
I don't mind the green because that's a throwback to their original colors in MLS. I think it's an alternate. I think that's okay. I can't tell what this pattern is supposed to be. Is it supposed to be raging water? Is it supposed to be trees? I'm not really sure. It's just kind of a muddy
grass
mess.
Stains.
Is that what it is? It's a mess. Is what it is.
It's to save the kit man's blushes so he doesn't have to worry about washing the kit.
It's when you're going down the rapids, Buzz. It's the white water in the rapids.
I see the paddles. It even says rapids underneath there in some sort of white sublimation, I think. Which is not the worst part of it. That's actually kind of like that part.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Under the UC Health, doesn't it say rapids under there? That part's okay, but it's like I can't really tell. Otherwise, it's just a mishmash of green instead of blue for rapids.
Maybe it says, "Save me.
Save me. Help me. This shirt is terrible." It's just kind of muddy. Again, this one, like the pics they posted on the website, I thought it was green. Then they show a kid wearing it and it looks blue. So it's kind of like, what is it? I don't know.
Two details. First off, did the Rapids rebrand their logo and their crest and I had totally was unaware of this? Or is this some sort of new secondary logo?
The league has been doing secondary, like alternate logos on a lot of the kits this year.
I've never seen this one.
Which was based on their state flag.
I think FC Dallas would have probably had the ball that's on that reversible jacket because a lot of them have had that element this year. I'm trying to think of an example now, but I can't.
And this also is featuring the single star, one at the expense of Football Club Dallas in 2010. That hurts. Oy vey. Yuck. Yuck-a-doodle-doo. All right, next up, it is the Goosebumps kit for the Columbus Crew, featuring the glow-in-the-dark accent color if you hold it underneath a particular ultraviolet light.
I really like this is a way for me that you do a black kit that has a little bit of interest to it, and a little bit of variety to it. The glow in the dark part is really fun. The only part I don't like about that is that the sponsor doesn't glow the same as like the numbers. If you saw some of the pics of it, it's like parts of it glow and parts of it don't. So that's not as good. But like I do like this overall execution of black with some flavor.
I find it interesting that there are no photos of it actually glowing in the dark on the league website and the write-up of it.
Yeah.
At least not that I can see, but it does make me wonder, will Crew Stadium be outfitted with ultraviolet lights so that when they score, they can flip to that?
Oh,
like, you know how Austin flips to a green light or something?
That's a good idea, yeah.
How cool would that be?
That would be really cool.
And that idea is for sale.
You should be in marketing, yeah.
I should, yeah. That would be a cool light. Now, of course, somebody will end up falling over in the dark light and killing themselves, and there'd be a lawsuit on their hands, but that part I'm not liable for. All right. Do we even want to bother talking about the Inferno kit?
I mean, it's boring. I wonder if all of them are going to come with that little pull on the thing. If that was a feature.
Can I bring up a point that came into my mind via a method I won't discuss?
Okay.
As recently as this morning. How in the world did this club end up introducing something called the Inferno kit and not have an interview or at least get a quote from somebody in the Inferno?
I think you know the answer to that.
No, I don't.
Just in general, people.
I mean, Dustin's like the easiest human being on the earth to find.
I don't know. I know there's just not a connection sometimes to the history. They try to, but they don't have it.
So okay. The reason why I bring this up is the fact that I have been really torn over. I want to be thankful that the club took the time to think about honoring the Inferno.
Yeah.
But if you didn't, but then they turn out this really awful, boring kit, and they kind of, it's like they decided to use the throwaway name on the throwaway jersey because they didn't even go through the hassle of really honoring the Inferno by going out of their way to talk to people that were once in the original supporters group.
Yeah.
Is that, you see where I'm going with all this?
I totally see where you're going, and I don't know what to tell you. I think you're right.
You're right. The jersey came before the name, right? If it was honoring the Inferno, you would have like the star with the flame on the back instead of the Texas flag. Maybe you would have some element, Inferno colors, red and black. Okay, well, you've got a light blue / gray shirt with navy and red on it. There's no connection there, and because there was never supposed to be a connection.
Yeah, this is more of a tornado kit to me than it is a Inferno kit.
Okay. Next up, DC United's 2025 Soul Kit.
That's cool. That's how you do a white or light shirt.
The cream color with the street graphics.
Yeah, like the elements are just so strong in it.
This is a good example of Buzz's point about sometimes details are wasted, because until I saw a decent photo of this kit, I thought it was just kind of a throwaway design like Dallas's. But now that I've seen some real photographs of it where I can actually see the detail, now I agree. It's a really, really cool shirt.
The details on the horns are really nice. I wonder, the pictures on MLS's website looks like the accents are brown.
Yeah.
That's a little weird to me. I might have stuck with black, but other than that, I really like it.
I love that whole pattern is actually inside the DC United badge as the background as well.
Yeah, I just see that's the first time I've noticed that too. Yeah, that's really cool. That is a really cool detail. Okay. We mentioned earlier Houston's shirt, which I really like. I love this diamond pattern that kind of rises out of the shirt. I really love the fact that they're wearing it with the white shorts. That's such a great addition.
And brought back the powder blue accent on the horn. Yeah, this is a great kit.
It's such a perfect throwback, and I hate saying that because, you know, those early kits, they had that little powder blue horn, the one that kind of started at the bottom and then went across the body. You've got that there. They when they won MLS Cup, they had that exact that curved diamondy pattern. Like they've just it's brought back every element for a kit that celebrates 20 years of that franchise.
Yeah, it's really well done. Fantastic execution.
And then the city that stole our idea, Kansas City, sporting with the blue hoops, the dark blue hoops on the light blue shirt.
Yeah, they've taken hoops and they own it now. This is for a jersey that has side panels and has a back panel. There is a little bit of a hoop sublimation in the side panel. This is nice. This is a pretty well done hoop version in a jersey that can't have solid hoops all the way around.
It's funny. They continue to do this cool little detail. I believe that the angled line that makes up the hoops is the line that divides Kansas City from Missouri to Kansas.
That's clever.
I think that's what that is. That's a really cool design element.
Yeah.
I think they've done that before in other shirts or something similar.
I mean, it's in the logo.
And they even carried over the diamonds from the previous versions of their kit.
Yeah, the Argyle shirts.
Well, Argyle, the diamonds is now a thing on the back, and it's just well done.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm interested in everybody's opinion of this next one. The Galaxy's new away shirt called the Rizon jersey, Rizon, which is a very LA way of spelling that word, I suppose, like horizon. What do you think about this, Buzz?
I think it's a really nice warm-up kit. It looks like the kind of thing that you would wear pregame for some sort of celebration of some kind. With this sort of sliding curves of colors and it's okay. I like it in that aspect. I don't like this mismatch spilled paint kind of, like you've spilled some bleach on it before it went into the washer. It's kind of what it looks like to me. It's like it's faded in a couple spots. Like, oh crap, I got some sunscreen on it and washed it and didn't wash it fast enough. It's kind of what it looks like to me.
What do you think, Dan?
I'm a fan. I think the colors work really well. It's got that nice like pinstripe in it that just kind of makes it less blobby and actually looks like a cohesive pattern.
All right. Can we all just take a minute to either goof on, cringe, or admire the obnoxious number of stars they've put on this thing?
Credit to them, man.
Wasn't there a period of time the MLS had decided to do a designation? So when this, if once you got to 5, you got like a giant gold star, and then you added an additional star until you got to 10, and then you had 2 gold stars. Well, now they've got, is this what it is? I guess it's 1 gold star and no, there's 5 other stars.
The funny part is you've got 4 silver stars, 1 gold star, and then 1 big star above all of those. Like they're just taking the piss.
I think the big one is supposed to be the current one, and then the gold one was for winning their 5th. It should just be 1 gold and 1 big one if I'm following the rules right. But
or maybe it would also be very MLS that they trash that rule.
Yeah,
I think they did. Yeah.
The other thing I'll just comment real quick is I wondered what color shorts they're going to wear with this. And in the league write-up, there's a photograph of a kid wearing the shirt with light blue Adidas shorts. Now, I don't know if that's just
navy blue.
No.
I'm telling you, the kit they're going to wear is navy blue shorts and socks.
Is. Okay. Yeah. Navy blue. Interesting. Okay. I'll have to see what
the navy's been their away color for a few years, so that's not surprising.
Yeah. Okay. Well, cool. All right. Dig it. All right. Next up, we mentioned it a little while ago, the LAFC shirt, which they are called, what is the name of this? They're just calling it secondary kit. I love it.
Yeah.
It's pretty straightforward stuff.
It's very secondary.
Yeah. It's white and it's in there with their gold accent. It's pretty standard, but it's
very
not
Art
terrible.
Deco.
Yeah. Very Art Deco. Yeah. Pretty straight down the line, but the gold's got a little bit of reflectiveness in it, and that kind of looks nice. So,
and in the Messi rule, when you've got Messi on your team, you don't get 1 kit a year, you get 3 kits a year. And here are the first 2: the new pink kit, which is called the Euphoria kit, and then the away kit, or the secondary, called the Fortitude kit.
I like both of these. I think they're both strong. Again, this is a way to break up black. It's not just solid black. It's got this split sort of gray-black combo happening. That sort of feels like a Barcelona thing too, with those 2 half pieces like that. I think they did that a couple years ago. So all the nods are there. This is a good set of kits for Messi.
I don't like the stripe one. I think same as I'm not really a big fan of the Austin one. I think it's the tonal stripes are kind of boring.
I love everything about both these shirts, but they are plagued, both of them, by that obnoxious cruise liner logo. I hate that logo. It's just too big and too like a blob in the middle of the shirt. And here's the problem. I don't know what cruise line that is. There's no name associated with it. It's just an icon, and I have no idea what it is.
That would be Royal Caribbean, hence the crown on it.
Okay, yeah, but I don't go on cruises. I don't care, and so it's an ugly addition to what I think are two very nice shirts. So I have spoken.
Fair criticism.
All right, next up, let me go back. And Minnesota's the Convergence kit. Oops, I spilled some milk on my shirt.
What I really like about this one is that it's at least the blue of the Minnesota's color palette, and they've gone away from like the gray that they were using for a couple of years that was so dumb when their colors were blue and white. It's like this is much better. It's a weird vibe, but it kind of feels like a almost like the trail behind a boat, through the waters, and Minnesota's the land of 10,000 lakes or something. So I buy it. I like it.
Okay.
I think it's the worst one they've had since
since
their first season. Yeah.
I love the big logo, the big loon logo.
That part's cool. That's the secondary. Those alternate logos I was talking about. Philadelphia has the same with just the snake.
It's got the cool red eye of the loon. I've always loved that detail. That was one of my favorite things about a Minnesota shirt. Remember when they had a button for their collar and it was a red button for the eye? That was great. All right, Montreal gets the same shirt essentially Atlanta got, except with blue and instead of red.
Consistency of branding. Full credit for that. Yeah. Black and blue vertical stripes. That's their bit.
Well, I mean, it's a good thing they went back to it.
Yeah, my favorite thing is that it's called the 2025 Montreal Original Jersey. That's the name of the shirt. I love it. And it is very much a Montreal shirt.
What were you saying, Dan?
Well, they got away from that for a bit. When they first branded to CF Montreal, they ditched the stripes. So it's good to see them, bring back what was a popular design.
Yeah, for sure.
Nashville, called the Heart of Nashville kit. I don't know why this shirt is getting the business, because it's a solid. I'm assuming this is their home kit, correct?
No,
or is their home kit yellow?
Their home kit's yellow.
Yeah. Oh, okay, all right. I don't think the shirt is awful.
Yes, I like it. I think it's good.
It's the same as I feel about the FC Dallas one and the Chicago one. It's okay. It's not spectacular. I would love it if Nashville utilized, before they joined MLS, when they had those Under Armour shirts that had the chest stripe. If they could implement that somehow, they would have a brand. Otherwise, they just have colors.
The navy is not solid navy. It's got some kind of little tick pattern all over it. So I think up close it'll look better. And yet from the wide, their solid navy shirt is what their thing is. So it both has consistency and it has a nice little effect up close. So.
And the next one is one I really liked the minute I saw it, until somebody said something that it cannot get out of my head, and now I can't unsee it.
It's a Chopa toothpaste.
It is a can of shaving cream, Gillette shaving cream, the new New England Revolution Eastern White Pine kit.
Well, they are sponsored by Gillette.
That totally looks like a pattern you'd see on some menthol shaving cream or something.
I can sort of see the pine needle-ish kind of effect in there. I don't like that pattern very much. The palette is not terrible though. That pine green and blue with some white is not bad. It's not, the execution is poor though. I like the color palette. I don't like the execution.
It's a tube of Crest Scope toothpaste.
I like it. All right, next up, Red Bull's Stone kit.
Yeah, it's a gray-brown thing with some digitalization. I'm not sure what the bit is.
It has food stains.
Is that what it is? Somebody spilled their coffee on it? I can't really.
It does look like it has 8-bit food stains on it.
Yeah.
It's like like old school Mario spilled some pizza or sauce on it. Yeah.
This is one of those things where, again, like from the stands, it's going to look like you have a dirty shirt on, dirty white, off-white shirt. Whereas like up close, you might be like, oh, that's some cool looking patterns or whatever, like streetwear. But like, again, from the stands, which is what I care about first, then I care about the up close. it's just going to look like, how come they didn't wash their shirts or something, you know?
All right. On the other side, we go from New Jersey over to Queens or the Bronx, wherever they're playing their games at these days. NYCFC Excelsior kit. What do you think, Danny?
It's cool. There's a nice pattern in it. It's kind of whatever. It's not spectacular. It's not terrible.
I don't understand this pattern at all. I don't get this one. I like the little badge in the corner of the New York City Football Club since 2015. I think that's kind of nice.
Buzz,
the color. Yep.
It is described as drawing inspiration from the city's iconic skyscrapers.
Okay. Yeah, I guess.
I guarantee you ChatGTP wrote that.
Yeah, it might have. They might have designed the kit too. It's just kind of, it's kind of like the pattern's in there just to have a pattern in there a bit, I guess. So it's, it's not great. It's okay.
All right. Next up, it is wild. It is wacky. It is crazy. It is the perfect storm kit for Orlando City.
I really like this kit. I think it's great. The pictures from preseason, they were wearing it with white shorts, which when you have a really dark, solid, basically what's a solid kit, the white shorts really make it pop. I think this is one of those things where from the stands, again, it's going to be all purple, which is great. And then up close, it's got some stuff going on. I think this is quite nice. It's not as good as their Tequila Sunrise jersey from a couple of years ago, which is still one of the all-time great MLS kits, but I quite like this one.
I really loved it when I first saw it, and now I'm like, oh, those two purples are too different. Now it just looks messy. If the tones were a little bit closer together, it would just look like a nice, subtle pattern.
That's a fair criticism. That's fair.
So what's interesting is I was reading this description. The pattern is different on every shirt. The foundation of this design is a digital storm pattern that will be unique on every jersey. And if you look at all the pictures, I'll be damned. Yeah, they are slightly different from each other depending on the shirt you're looking at.
That should be the case with most jerseys because of the way that dyes are printed out of patterns. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, okay. I think that's kind of fun. I like it.
Yeah, I do like the little hurricane logo down on the deal, and I like the Thunderbolt made up of the area code on the back of the shirt, too. Yeah. Those are two cool little details.
That is nice.
Other than the fact that the state's been ravaged by hurricanes of late, but they didn't know about that 2 years ago when they designed this thing.
Right, fair.
Okay, let's see. Oh, this one. Okay, so here's my story on this one today. This is the Philly Voltage kit, which I thought was an interesting shirt. It wasn't my favorite. I like the lightning bolt design. I love the fact that they're going with the kind of cutout snake. I love all that. And I thought, okay, this is passable. But then today I saw the photo of the full kit. Have you seen the full kit?
I saw the one you shared, and it really sold me on it because I was just kind of okay on it until you showed me that picture.
Yeah, so if you see the yellow in the shirt, they're wearing that color in the shorts with the blue as the socks, and it is an outstanding full kit.
I almost always think it helps to not be a complete solid head to toe, whatever it is. To have a variation in there really helps at some point, and I'm with you. That short makes it work all the much better.
I'm not a fan.
Bah humbug.
You don't even like it with the shorts?
I think it's worse with the shorts. To me, it looks like that 2012.
What are you, a communist?
To me, it looks like that 2012 Seattle jersey, the turquoise and Volt one, except someone washed the color out of it. And then they threw a bit of bleach on it for good measure. And then they washed it with a highlighter.
That's how I felt about the LA one.
Dan.
It's okay. Dan doesn't like it. That's fine.
I hold Dan's kit opinions in high regard. And so, I mean, if you had just seen the shirt, I would have bought it. But when you see it with those kick-ass shorts and socks, I can't believe you don't like the kit.
I don't like the color.
All right. Well,
I think if they'd have done like that with their navy that they use on the home kit, or even like the gold that they use, I think it would have looked better.
Okay. Next up, one of the most popular kits, and they always have good kits, Portland's new Forever Green and Gold. And this is one of those that goes back to Buzz's point where from a distance, it just looks like a dark kit. But when you get up close on this thing, that tree cutaway detail is farting fantastic.
It works in both scenarios. It works from the top of the stands and it works up close. I particularly like the way the tree rings center around the logo.
Yes,
that's really well done. This is terrific execution. It's in their color palette. It's a nice dark green. It's not messing around. It's the right color green. So
I actually forgot they had the tree ring pattern, but now I'm looking at it. It's got the star for MLS Cup in it. It's got 50 in. No, that's not 50. That's
50 on the back.
No, there's Roman numerals on it, but that's that's.
Yeah, in the tree ring pattern, the tree rings are broken up by like a star and a Roman numeral, which I think is the year they were incorporated.
It's 2011, their first year in MLS.
Ah, that's what it is. Yeah,
but yeah, the Spirit of 75 thing is just really cool.
Yeah, that's good.
It's just a good looking shirt all the way around. I dig it a lot. All right, Salt Lake City's this one has got everybody all excited. The checkerboard kit.
Oh yeah, this is amazing. This is the number one kit for this year for me. It's just absolutely phenomenal. It looks great in execution too. They wear it with white shorts and socks that I've seen. It pops. It's really good all the way around.
Really I've seen it with navy shorts and white socks.
Oh, they've been mixing it up. Okay, and the one I saw was all white. So I just love everything about it.
This is the best execution of a checker pattern jersey for me. Like the badges all line up perfectly, which is what killed me about that one San Antonio did a couple of years ago. You've got that really cool grid pattern that's in white, and then you've got that really subtle red border on each checker.
Yeah, I hadn't seen the red border on the blue check until just now, and that is a fantastic little touch.
Yeah, it's
That's
tip-top.
a great, good-looking kit.
Amazing.
All right, San Diego got 2 really boring kits because they weren't in part of the cycle. Any particular comments or notes about either one of these?
I like the home. I think the whole sunrise thing in the trim detail is really clever. The white one's boring. Let's just leave it at that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, again, like, is it black? Is it navy? I can't really tell from these pictures. I think it's maybe navy.
Here's what I hope. I hope that they wear white shorts with the black shirt and white shorts with the black shorts with the white shirt.
That'd be cool.
Or whatever the opposite of what I just tried to say is.
That would help.
That would be great if they did that.
Yeah.
It's all navy, the San Diego kit.
Stupid. Let's see. All right. San Jose's a new shirt, which is the pattern with the newspaper clippings and all of that. They're calling the headliner jersey. Do we care about this at all?
Other than that S that everybody drew when they were 12 years old, no.
Yeah, I don't think this one is very good at all. This is, I mean, I appreciated the idea, perhaps, if the news clippings are like from their founding kind of year, even way back, if you want to go NASL founding, I could have bought that. But it's just a muddy mess of junk. Oh my goodness, excuse me. That's what it made me feel. Made me burp. It's just almost puked up a little bit there. That's how gross it is. This is like my least favorite kid of all of them. It's terrible.
Of the newspaper clippings, I wonder if there's like a little hidden one that says franchise moved to Houston.
Oh, yeah. Two trophies in the Bayou. Yeah, something like that.
And then, of course, I think what many people think is the best kit of the year. Not everybody.
We already did ourselves.
Yeah, okay. Is the Sounders' new away kit, the Solace C kit, which is, I did not know this until I just read it, in collaboration with artists representing 3 different Indian tribes from the area, the Puget Sound area, which is kind of cool. And I just think this is a great pattern. This is really cool, man.
Yeah, it's a well-done kit. It's really good. I don't think it's as good as RSL, but I think it's really good. It's a slightly different variation on the color schemes, I think, that we've seen from Seattle before. So I appreciate that aspect of it. It is very Pacific Northwest, which is on brand. So very, very Sounders, very ocean. It's all good.
Oh no, what a shock. The Sounders have the best pair of kits in MLS.
Yeah. I mean, this kit with the outstanding, probably one of my favorite kits of all time in the league.
Yeah.
Those two, it's just unfair how much time, thought, effort, and energy they put into these things. And they always just,
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And it is, just some clubs are good at it and some are not. Let's see. Any of them? What am I forgetting? Oh yeah,
a couple.
Canadians.
Yes. Well, more than that. St. Louis, their new red dog food kit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sort of red. Is that more fuchsia? I don't know. What color is fuchsia? Pink? Is it? I don't know what fuchsia is.
It's a very cherry red.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate the little stripage pattern that's happening in the opposite direction of their city logo. It's kind of a nice little flavor to give a solid kit. It's a little flavor, but really it's just a solid red kit, so it's kind of boring in that regard.
And then Toronto's kit, which is, I actually kind of like this design, this kind of design of the red. I don't hate this.
I like that it carries on to the sleeves. It's like what New York City's should have been.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think this is a good way to bring a little flavor into your solid red kit after a few years. You know, you can have solid red be your thing and bring a little flavor into it. And this is a really good job of bringing a little flavor into it. Again, I don't know what the pattern means, but I like the pattern even without knowing if it has any sort of special meaning or not.
And then the last one is another Canadian one, the Vancouver Whitecaps, sticking with the across the chest bar theme, and it's called the Peak. Yeah,
consistency of branding. I always applaud that. So, like of a basically white kit, they kept the solid piece across the back. What I really want to see is, did you keep the red number? They've always done red numbers on this white kit with the blue accents. I hope they kept that because that's a really nice bit for them.
I think the thing that makes me wonder about whether or not I can't figure out if I like it is the treatment of the bar of the sleeves.
I like that.
Okay, but it doesn't line up with the bar on the chest. If it was a long sleeve shirt and it was down lower in the sleeve, so it lined up with the bar across the chest, I would agree with you. But now here it doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, it would be very difficult to line it up and have the whole bar. It would just be like a tiny trim almost. But yeah, I definitely see what you mean there. But I like it. It kind of, it does kind of hark back to those old Nike kits that they used to have, albeit with the really, the chest thing was a little bit higher up because you didn't have a crest.
All right, there you go. I think we did it.
Yay.
Steve Davis stopped listening an hour ago.
I guess if we're talking kits, one more thing is obviously we've speculated about the Dallas third shirt. There has been communication from FC Dallas to fans at both Cocktails and Cleats and now by email that FC Dallas is indeed getting a Dallas Burn themed third jersey as part of the Adidas Archive collection, which is the same collection as the third shirts last year, Miami, Seattle, LA, both LA teams and SKC.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm aware of this.
All right, well, they've made it kind of not semi-official this week.
I'm just, if anybody wants to ask me a question about what it may or may not look like, I'd be happy to answer those questions.
Buzz, the Vancouver jersey has navy numbers by the looks of it.
Oh,
which is a miss. That's a bad miss.
Yeah, that's a big miss. Yeah, there's a great letter off for me for sure for losing the red number.
Man, Dan, you're not even going to take me up on my offer to ask me questions about the upcoming third kit?
We can always do that off the podcast.
Okay. You guys are no fun whatsoever.
Sorry. I'm emotionally exhausted from talking about all those kits.
We have months before that kit's drop. We have plenty of time to talk about that kit as we go forward.
Did you also see Vancouver has a Black History Month kit that's really cool?
I've not seen that one.
They used it for preseason. It's
oh, yes. I'm sorry, keep going, Dan. It just reminded me of something.
Oh, yeah, they've it's black with the whole horns thing in like this solar red, green, and then green panels, and then yellow stripes. It's got some custom numbers on the back, and then they've got the Vancouver logo that's kind of themed in the same colors.
Yeah, that's really.
Are they going to wear it any other rest of the season, or is it just like a one-time thing because of February?
So the way they phrased it is they will wear it throughout February as they gear up for the MLS 2025 regular season.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's a good looking kit. That's colored the badge, Peter, which you hate, but that's a pretty good adaptation. I like that.
And it is a kente pattern that they use around the logo. The logo itself is bordered by the pattern, which is really impressive up close.
That's good.
I was laughing when Buzz brought this up because the thing we haven't talked about is I can't tell if this is the coolest, most ingenious thing Dallas has ever done, or this is the most cringiest thing Dallas has ever done, which is rolling out in preseason games wearing a jersey from 4 seasons ago, paired with your black shorts from last season.
Well, it's definitely not the cringiest because the 9/11 ticket deal still lives on.
Okay, my question was because I don't want to misinterpret this because somebody may see this and go, "That's actually a really cool thing Dallas did by pulling out a bunch of old jerseys." But Buzz, does this qualify for the list?
No, it's just preseason's whatever. You have your for whatever reason you don't have enough kits of whatever persuasion, you just grab. It doesn't matter. It's meaningless. They could have just worn some practice shirts with a Sharpie on them for all we care in preseason.
Realistically, that was the last jersey they would have had any that didn't have a sponsor because they had the sponsor change halfway through.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they just didn't wear their kits. They're like, why are they wearing? I mean, every other preseason, they historically either wear a training shirt for that season or they wear their jerseys for that season.
They wore the Burn Baby Burn in Portugal. They wore the current home jersey against Houston at home. So yeah, and that first game, I kind of figured it was cocktails and cleats. They probably didn't want to wash an extra set of kits. I don't understand why the other games though.
Yeah, I don't know. I've not investigated into why they did that.
It was just funny. We're all like squinting at the monitor at our screens, going, "What shirt is that? Holy crap! It's the 1920."
I haven't tweeted like, "Is that the 2020 kit?" And they responded like, "We're not proud of this kit." It's like, we know it's bad. They knew it was bad. Yeah.
All right, very good. All right, look at us knocking out. This is way too long of an episode, but it's the start of another season. Yay! We're here.
Really fast, let me just mention that Tigres is back in the Dallas Cup. Some young kids, Sam Seta and Liam Verjostek, were named to the US U16 team from FC Dallas. Xavier Gomez to the Mexico U15 from FC Dallas. And the 3 local ladies are in the US U17 team, and that's Rhiannon Mahone and Kamaya Beck from Solar, and Landon Young from FC Dallas are in the US U17 camp. So congrats to those people.
All right. Excelente. Anything else, boys and girls?
I do want to ask you something. Are you excited for the new mass confrontation rule for the referees this year?
Yeah, it's a smart addition to the rule. Just the captain's the only one that can talk to the referee in a moment of seriousness, and I think that's probably a smart thing to do.
I don't understand why that rule ever went away. It worked pretty well the first time. It seems like they've enhanced it this time with the whole 4 meter perimeter that the captains are responsible for enforcing. And then what's the other part of the rule? If 3 players crowd the referee, 1 automatically gets booked. All right, that's great. That stops it.
Interesting. I wonder who's going to step off the 4 meters.
Someone that doesn't understand metric, probably.
Yeah.
You just eyeball it.
That's my hand. That's me raising my hand. All right. Anything else?
It's a big one, so we might as well wrap it up.
Okay. It is episode 299. Somehow we mistimed this. This should have been 300, but whatever.
Let's go back in time 7 years and fix that.
Yeah, Buzz.
Start 1 week earlier.
Fix that. All right. Well, thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
You're the best. You and your wooden spoon.
You are.
I love it.
It's technically a polymer, but you know.
And Buzz and your golden boots.
Yeah, my golden Emmy. Happy
and
for y'all to be here.
Your Emmy.
Yeah.
I just noticed your Emmy has no shirt on. She's topless.
It's how they come, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
You're looking at it way too closely.
I can't help it. You have it so predominantly displayed in your video shot, sir.
You're making my edit longer here.
If you take the Emmy jokes out, I'm going to be so mad at you.
Third Degree, the podcast, is brought to you by Pappy, the man responsible for all the amazing music we have out here on this podcast. He's back in time for 2025, available for solo shows, full band gigs, restaurant accompaniment, private parties, lessons for beginners, you name it, the man can do it all. He's currently doing a residency in Bishop Arts at the Taco y Vino restaurant. In fact, he's probably doing one of them right now as we're recording this. He's got one more date coming up on the 27th. You can enjoy his work there. Also follow him on Instagram at pappy.check for updates on all his latest gigs and whatever else the man has going on.
Thank you, Buzz. Let's go. Let's have a good season, all right?
It's going to be fun. Woo!
Yes, and thank you, you FC Dallas Curious fan, you. Good, happy new season to you, and we will speak to you next week, certainly with 3 big old points in the pocket on the next and 300th episode of Third Degree, the podcast.
Oh, that was exhausting.
Third Degree, the Third Degree Net Podcast. Third Degree, the Third Degree Net Podcast. Third Degree, the Third Degree Net Podcast. Third Degree, the Third Degree Net Podcast.